Happy Monday, friends. I hope everyone had a lovely Thanksgiving. We have a lot to cover tonight, and I have to be conscious of time because I don't want to ramble on. Let's be honest, I'll probably ramble on, so you can just tune out if it is not your thing, but I can't help it. Happy belated Thanksgiving, everybody. We actually celebrated our Thanksgiving. Is today Monday? Yes, yesterday, and it was lovely. It was very nice for once. And I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself because I know some people read some of the things I write and some people just pop in randomly and have no idea what I'm talking about. So I like to give you a frame of reference, but we actually celebrated Thanksgiving over the weekend since my older daughter was with her dad for Thanksgiving and we didn't want her to be left out. And it ended up working out really, really nicely because we had so much time to prep and cook, and we cooked everything. So there was a lot to do, but it was nice. It was low key. It was quiet. I ate way too much food. My pants are a little bit tight. I don't even care because it was worth it. And that's that. That's the whole Thanksgiving shtick. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore because it's over. Hi, Leslie. So let's talk about a few things today. If you have a child who's approaching that tween-ish phase, things start to happen, like conversations you might not be ready for, right? So sometimes they start to talk about love interests or what they think are love interests, and they start to talk about having crushes, which at that age, I don't think I had crushes. They start to talk about wanting to shave their legs, which is happening, like all these changes that I was not prepared for. So we are very open in my house, and her dad is very open too in terms of the stuff we discuss because we're very, very honest with her. The doll is creeping you out. I'm going to talk about that. It's there for a reason. I'm glad you noticed it, Andrea, but I'm going to address that. But first we have to talk about how my child learned what sex is at a sleepover. Not literally, because that would be really bad, but she learned what sex is. So we're pretty liberal. We're very open. I let my daughter get away with a lot of things that some other parents might not because I pick and choose my battles. And I grew up in a liberal home, and I turned out pretty normal, relatively speaking. So probably, I want to say 6-ish months ago, and my daughter's 10, my older daughter's 10, about 6-ish months ago, Andrea, you could totally cut me off. I'm going to lose my train of thought a million times. It's fine. My daughter was in my bedroom and she started throwing around the word sexy. She's like, "You're sexy, sexy." And then she said sex. And I stay calm with her and I go, why are you saying that word? And she played dumb, pretended she wasn't saying it. And it turned out we had a little conversation, and I said, "Listen, we're going to talk about this." Hi, Stace. I said, "We're going to talk about this because you can't say the word sex to me and then we're not going to address it because this is, it's an adult topic and we're going to talk about it whether you like it or not." It is interactive, Carol. Thank you. Tell her this is interactive. There are no rules. You can cut me off. You can interrupt me. I like to talk to people, not just ramble on myself. So we had a very abbreviated sex talk, and I let her lead the conversation. And I had gotten advice years ago from a friend who was a psychologist. No, it wasn't from YouTube, Stacy. A friend who was a psychologist who said to me, when you start to have some of those tougher conversations with your kids, sex, drugs, relationships, breakups, all those things, rather than just put all your cards on the table, when you engage in a conversation with them, kind of let them set the tone and lead the way. So one of the tactics they say to use is to ask questions before you answer. So for example, my daughter said to me at that time, which was again 6 months ago, "I have a question. What is sex?" And I said, "What do you think it is?" That's one of the biggest, greatest parenting pieces of advice I ever got. So if you're not using that tactic, use it, because if you're like me, you'll just start talking and say things that maybe they're not ready for or they weren't even thinking about and shoot yourself in the foot. So you kind of just flip the table on them a little bit. So hi, Shirley. Oh, Shirley, you're just in time to hear about how Ava learned about sex at a sleepover. So she asked me what it was, and I said, "What do you think it is?" And she looked at me very, very shy and said, "Making out." And I said, "Yeah, it's part of it." And it didn't really go much further. We had a little bit of a conversation. She said, "Oh, you're being like that mom on TV who is always you can talk to me about anything." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Beverly Goldberg. That is who I am. So you can talk to me about anything." Lisa, that's how I roll with both of my girls. Just wait till it gets even better. Wait, I'm not even ready. Stacy, oh dear God. Yes, oh dear God is right. So that was like a conversation that happened. It was very, very innocent. There wasn't a ton of detail. I told her, you know, I want you to ask me these questions and we can have private conversations, but I don't want you to get information from people your age who have no idea what they're talking about, or from other people's parents, or from the internet. Like, I'd rather you come to me no matter how uncomfortable it is, and we'll talk about it. And I will always be honest with you, always. So she was like, okay, Mom, I get it. And I said, again, I just want you to know, we are not discussing this. We are, you brought up sex, and we are going to discuss it because it's an important thing that you need to be aware of and know about. It's very, very important. Shirley, you're Beverly Goldberg, ask my kids. I know, I say it all the time. Jason calls me Beverly Goldberg when I talk about like eating my children's faces because they're so cute. He's like, oh God. So now cut to present time. She had a sleepover, was it last weekend, I think, at a friend's house, and with two little girls who are around her age, very sweet. And she came back to my house after the weekend, and literally out of nowhere, unprompted, she goes, Mom, I know what sex is. And I go, oh yeah? And she goes, yeah. I go, what is it? I almost fell over because she knew what it was, like logistically. Like, we had never talked about the actual act of sex and what happens. And so I said, well, what is it? And she said, it is when people are naked on top of each other, rubbing up and down on each other, and the man's privates fit perfectly in the female's privates, and they have a baby. That's how they make a baby. And I was like, oh, hi, Lori. Get ready, because your Harper's going to be a few years away from this conversation. And I said, okay. And she looked at me and she goes, is that right? Because you said you never lie to me. I said, yeah, I mean, it's technically right. There's a million other tangents we can go on, but for now we'll focus on this information. Yes, that is right. So then I said, how do you know that? And she said, well, I was at a sleepover, and the parents bought a book about sex for their kids, and we were reading it. So as a mother whose daughter learned what sex was at someone else's house, my first reaction was, oh my God, I'm not okay with this at all. Like, this is a rite of passage that me or her dad should have been at the forefront of, and oh my God, oh my God. And then I started thinking, all right, you know what? Like, she kind of opened Pandora's box, and now I can address it, and I don't have to make my daughter uncomfortable by me being the one who brings it up. She came to me with it. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise. And how could I possibly be mad? Because you can't get upset about parents educating their children and giving them books or whatever that it is. It's not their fault that that's the bedtime material they chose to read. But I would have loved to be a fly on the wall watching my kid read a book about sex and what happens with two little girls and them giggling and whatever. So I'm thinking the conversation's over, and I'm like, okay, you know, do you have any other questions? And she said, well, what if you don't want a baby? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, what if people are having sex and they don't want a baby? And she said, because in the book it said something like, you just cover the man's part with a towel or something. And I go, no. I go, that's not what happens. And she said, well, what if you don't want to have a baby then? And I said, well, that's the thing. I said, there are a million ways you can try and prevent having a baby. And I said, but if a baby wants to come, it's going to come, because nothing's guaranteed. That was like the only way I wanted, not that I want to scare my child, but I want her to understand the severity of, like, when you get to the age and you start to have those kinds of conversations, because she's 10, like, she's not 5, she's 10, like, she's going to be in middle school in a couple of years, and it freaks me out. And so I just wanted her to understand, like, the consequences of what sex leads to, like you and your sister. So I said, you know, you can't, it's not, you don't throw a towel on anything, and you can't, nothing is guaranteed. So the only way to guarantee it is not to do it until you're ready to do it. And then you do it with somebody that you love and you're committed to, and that you want to have a baby with. And she was like, okay. And she goes, and what about making out? I go, what about it? And she goes, I mean, do you and Jason make out? And I was like, I can't even, like, how am I supposed to have conversations with her about my activity as an adult? That's where I get uncomfortable, not about her, but I don't want to answer the questions and be accountable for the things that I do, because I won't lie to her, but it's weird. So long story short, when your kids go to sleepovers and you hear them giggling, because we have plenty of sleepovers here. I just don't have sex books in my daughter's room. Maybe I should. But when you have sleepovers and the kids are in the bedroom giggling and all that stuff, just understand that they're probably not just making slime. They're probably talking about very adult things. I mean, you guys all had sleepovers. I had sleepovers. You get to an age where you talk about things that are, I don't want to say taboo for your age, but maybe things your parents haven't talked to you about yet or things like that, right? Lori, yes, do you make out? Yeah, she did. She asked me if I made out. And she asked me, it's funny, she said, did you ever make out with dad? With her dad? And I go, well, again, I'm not going to lie. I go, well, yeah. And she goes, really? And I go, that's what you do when you're married, you're with someone, that's, part of the relationship. And she goes, I don't want to do that. And I'm thinking, great, hold off as long as you can, because I don't want you to do it either. Zach, 100%, right? Those are the things you talk about. So, and I actually want to know the book that she got her hands on, because I remember being really young and there was a book that was passed around about sex, and it had like illustrations, like cartoon illustrations. And I remember there was like the male parts and the female parts, and it was like weird to see it in cartoon form. It was very funny. But anyway, so yes, now my daughter knows pretty black and white what sex is, and she did not learn it from me. But I'm over the guilt part of it, because now I get to have like the real conversations about why it's important to respect your body and to not, engage in activities that you can't take back. That's the part that freaks me out. It's not like the talking about sex or her knowing about that. It's her getting to the age where people start doing that. And it scares the shit out of me, you guys. I don't know how, I have to figure out how I'm going to talk to her about these things without scaring like the living daylights out of her, but also get my point across. So if you guys are talking to your kids about these things and you're finding tactics that work really well for you, and you have like an open household like we do where you talk about a lot of stuff, I need to know. Shirley, what would Arlene have said if she asked her about sex? My mom probably would have been honest with her. I don't think she would have volunteered information. She would have dug a little, but I'm glad you brought up Arlene, because let me tell you a little something about Arlene. Arlene is my mother, for those of you who are not aware. And she is like the fun grandmother who spoils my kids with like toys that I would never buy because they're really loud and annoying, and I can't stand having them in my house. Lori, I love you too. Speaking of inappropriate things, I have told her a million times, I'm like, listen, when you're with Ava, please, like, don't watch inappropriate shows. And she doesn't watch, she watches like the stuff I watch on Bravo, The Real Housewives, all that stuff. And she was here the other day watching the kids, and I came in and Ava is sitting on the couch, and she is like, her eyes are right at the TV, and I'm like, oh God, I don't even want to know. And she's watching 90 Day Fiance. Yep. Kristen, you missed the sex talk, but I'll go back to it in a second. It's quick, and I'll recap because I see a bunch of new people joining, so I'll recap it. But my 10-year-old is watching 90 Day Fiance. Now, let me take a step back because I'm going to like sound like a hypocrite. I am super liberal. I'm very laid back, but I don't let my kid watch 90 Day Fiance. Like, I feel like that's not really appropriate for her. So she's watching it. And my mom is very, very, if she believes that something is correct and right, you're not changing her mind. She will rationalize it until like she's blue in the face and you're not going to change her mind. So I'm like, Mom, really? Like, she's watching 90 Day Fiance and she's like, there's nothing inappropriate about it. And at that moment, as if God was sending his disciples or angels or whatever, I don't even know, down to like prove my point, they start talking about, one of the women is like, I'm just not comfortable being intimate with him. And Ava's like, what's intimate? I'm like, oh, here we go. Yeah, Mom, what's intimate? So they're watching, and I'm putting groceries away because I can't even deal. And I said to my mom, I go, listen, you can't let her watch those things. And she goes, Rachel, she's not a baby. I go, right, but she's also not 17. So there's like a middle ground. Let her watch like those stupid teen shows on Nickelodeon or Disney, whatever, with, the teenagers who wear shorts and skirts that are too short. I don't need her watching like people getting married for green cards. So she was like, well, I'll have you know that she learned something. She did learn something very valuable. She learned a lesson. I go, what did she learn? She goes, she learned what a visa was. So that's like my mom in a nutshell. She thought it was okay that my daughter was watching 90 Day Fiance because she walked away with the knowledge of understanding what a visa was at 10. I think that's really important, right? She's also the grandmother whoever noticed this doll in the beginning, my mom brought this doll for Sienna. It's like a few feet tall. It is the creepiest thing I've ever seen, okay? And it's supposed to walk with you. You're supposed to hold its hand, and it's supposed to walk with you. And my mom Nobody loves a bargain more than my mother. Like, she literally treats Target like it's like a flea market. Like, she'll walk into the cash register and go and pay, and they'll be like, that's $39.99, and she's like, oh, no, 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 I saw it, it was $20. And they're like, okay. And they give it to her. I don't know why. She's awesome, but they give it to her. Andrea, she learned what a visa was. Yep, she did. Carol, it's educational. Lisa, I love your mom. Everybody loves my mom. My mom's the best. So she bought Sienna this doll because you're supposed to be able to hold its hand and it walks with you, which obviously it does not do, because this thing is like the biggest piece of crap you've ever felt in your life. It already has a messed up eye, which I have a doll eye too. I always say one that, like, you know, in pictures, sometimes you take a picture and one of your eyes starts going like that. I call it my doll eye. The doll is definitely scary. Yep. Shirley Bariqua. Yep. Lori, the Apple Watch. Oh, that's another good story. Yep. All right. So here's the other thing about this doll. Not only does it not walk with you like it's supposed to, you guys, this doll has boobs. Okay. I mean, why does this is not like a woman. I don't even know if it's a teenager. Where are they designing these dolls that they're giving them boobs? I don't understand. So this is what's in my house right now. It doesn't work. It does nothing that it's supposed to do. It's so creepy. But my child likes it. And my mom's justification for buying it was because it was $6.50. And she was like, I mean, could I leave that in the store for $6.50? And I was like, yeah, very easily you could have. I mean, most people would. All right, Andrea, I'm going to put it down so you don't have to look at it anymore. Okay. By the way, I make a list for these shows every time I'm going to do them. And I'm looking at my list. And if someone were to find this, they would be like, what is wrong with this woman? Here's what my list says: body parts, sleepover, sex ed, Spanx, Cyber Monday assault, 90 Day Fiance. Hold on, let me mark that off. We did 90 Day Fiance. Okay. Thanksgiving, we did. Jason's Pie. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And the fun grandma. All right. While I'm still talking about the fun grandma, this is the other kind of stuff that she buys. All right. This is what she bought my older daughter, but my younger one stole it. So it's one of these machines that has like 20 different noises: fart noises, cat noises, dentist noises. And my children just take it and walk around. And the one that's the most annoying is this one. Whatever. That's what I hear. Whatever. That's the kind of stuff that my mother buys for my children and lives for it. And they live for it. They live for her because she buys them shit like this. So thanks, Mom. Speaking of buying things, my inbox was assaulted today for Cyber Monday, as I'm sure all of yours were. And I didn't buy a single thing because I can't get through everything and figure it out. But one thing I did get on Black Friday, which I'm going to suggest you get before Cyber Monday ends. I'm obsessed with Spanx. I love Spanx. I know people, I have a love-hate relationship because they are not comfortable, but they're so fantastic if you want to like get into like that dress that you feel like is not forgiving enough, or like you're just having one of those days where you're like, oh, you pull on the Spanx, it sucks everything in. It's great. I'm married. It's not like a bait and switch thing. He knows what he's getting, but like sometimes you just need that, like, you know, that silhouette. So my friend Lauren, who I've mentioned before, who has a blog, Styled as a Mother, had posted about the Spanx leggings, which if you do not own Spanx leggings, you are missing out, ladies. They are so great. And I know it sounds like they'd be torture devices, but they're actually much more comfortable than the real Spanx, which I love as well. But I like things that most people don't love. So these are on sale. I don't know what let's see what these go for. I want to say they're like 98 or 110 or something like this. These brown faux leather Spanx, high-waisted, like really cute, really, really soft. I tried them on. They're super comfortable. I got these on sale for like $58. The black ones were on sale too, but they were still like 78 or 80, and I did not want to spend that. So if you are in the market for leggings, because winter is coming in Florida for 5 minutes, you should look into them. They're the commando leggings. I'll hold it up in case somebody wants to see. And I got them at Nordstrom, I think. Yes, Nordstrom. So look on Nordstrom online. They probably have Cyber Monday stuff, and get them. All right, so let's take a step back because I need to go back to the sex talk again because I want to talk about something else related to that. When you have a child and you start like talking about different body parts, when they have to pee or go to the bathroom, they're taking a shower. Again, we're very open in this house. I do not use like those cutesy terms like hoo-ha and pee-pee. Like we use the terms penis, vagina. That's how we talk because To me, those are the real body parts. There's no shame in them, but I know people get uncomfortable. To each his own. I understand. It's interesting. I just read an article. I'll have to find it and see if I can post it in the comments. I want to say it was on Pop Sugar, but there was a whole article about making a case for if you don't use the proper terminology for body parts with kids, they grow up thinking, having this weird like perception of, like, I don't want to say shame, but like embarrassment or not understanding their own bodies and things like that. And it leads to like bad stuff down the road. So it's an interesting take. I'll have to find it, but we use real terminology. So I have friends who, some don't, they use like those cutesy terms, and I can't even keep a straight face, you guys, because I can't look at my kid, I don't care how old they are, and be like, oh, did you wash your hoo-ha? I can't do it. Like, it's, we call them penises and vaginas, and I want to know what you guys talk to your kids, how you explain body parts to them. And then if you do use cute little pet names, what happens? Do you like pick an age where you're like, all right, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag and tell them that it's not really called a pee-pee? And like, I don't know, I wasn't raised like that. I don't talk like that to my kids. So I'm very curious of the dynamic of what happens when you decide to stop using those names, so that your kids aren't like 16 years old referring to something, you know, as a hoo-ha. Anyway, if you signed on a little bit late, hold on, let me cross off my stuff. This is how I keep myself organized, you guys. If you signed on a little bit late, you missed the talk about how my child learned about sex at a sleepover. And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I think a couple weeks ago when I told you guys the story about the mom who asked her if her parents were divorced, that wasn't a sleepover, but it was a drop-off play date. So things go on at people's houses. I'm sure they go on at mine too when those kids are behind closed doors. Now I feel like I need to like get the whole, you know, put the cup to the door and listen and see what's going on. Maybe I don't want to know. I don't know. I wish my mom was on right now because she'd probably have some good stories about stuff that went down when I had sleepovers and stuff. But I feel like we were pretty mild. I don't think that we did anything crazy or raunchy or nuts. But yes, my child now knows what the actual act of sex is because of a book she read at a friend's house. And I can't even be mad. And when I told her dad, he had the same reaction. He was like, well, I feel like we should send them like a note that says, how dare you, and thank you at the same time. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. That's how I feel. They like ripped the Band-Aid off. Now it's out there. She knows what it is. I'm sure there will be a million questions. What I'm not ready for are like those specific questions about different kinds of sex. Like that's what's going to weird me out. Because I don't know how much information to give her little head, because I don't want my kid to then be the one that's educating everyone else. Like I would rather my child hear things from other people and then bring it to me than parents call me and be like, Rachel, I'll have you know that Ava had a very interesting conversation with my child and taught her X, Y, and Z. Like, I don't really want to be on the receiving end of those phone calls. So I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. So yes, that is what goes down at sleepovers. Just be aware, folks. She now knows. She saw illustrations of it. I'm sure her little wheels are spinning, and she's probably putting all the pieces together now that she knows that babies are made from actually having sex. She's probably thinking about the two baby daddies that I've had babies with, and God knows what she's thinking about that and what that conversation is going to look like. I'll keep you posted if that happens. I'm actually going to write an article about the whole thing because I think it's really interesting. But oh wait, I'm missing a bunch of comments. Hold on. Lisa, if it makes you feel any better, my mom would totally buy that doll because it was on sale or new. Yeah, I mean, $6 is a bargain for a doll with a creepy eye. Shirley, I'm signing off when you started to talk about Jason's pie. It's too fucked up. Stacy, oh my goodness, it was insane. Did you buy the leggings? Yes, I bought the leggings. Stacy, where'd I get them? Nordstrom. Carol, yes, assaulted. It's too many emails about Cyber Monday. Too much. Stacy, you're asking if Stacy had the pie. Where, wait, hold on. There's too many. Okay, Stacy wants to know where exactly I'm wearing those leggings. You know, I do now go out to dinner every once in a while with my husband, and sometimes I don't want to wear my uniform, which is my ripped AG, ripped knee jeans, and some kind of black top. I want to mix it up a little bit and keep things fresh and spicy. Lisa, I'm with you 100%. I can't do the cutesy thing with the names. Thank you. I think my girls learned from Kindergarten Cop. Carol, that's hilarious. Hi, Jana. Stacy, we had makeout parties. First of all, slow your roll. We did not have makeout parties, okay? There were a couple of bar mitzvahs where people all had their first kiss with the same person, like in the back of the temple behind a tree, which, by the way, I did not participate in that. I was like a late bloomer. Maybe I have a few years for that stuff. I can't even think about it. I need to know what year the book was written. I don't know. I need to see it too. Sam, you missed the sex talk. What book is this? I know, Jaina, it's craziness. Stacy, I did not have a makeout party. I never had the two. I know exactly what you're talking about. And the two people that basically served as everybody's first kiss, what was it, like 7th grade? I did not engage in that because I actually had a boyfriend at the time who threatened to break up with me if I didn't make out with him. And I was like all, you know, I don't know, maybe I was like a feminist waiting to come out of that body. And I was like, okay, break up with me. And he did. So I was not part of those. Lisa, oh, wait until Ava goes to the bar bat mitzvah circuit. No more candies in the bathroom. Candles in the bathroom. It's scary. I don't even want to think about it. Stacy, me either. You sat next to me after I made out with Ethan at Spencer's bar mitzvah. Right, exactly. Yeah, I don't even want to deal with the making out and the kissing. It freaks me out because I don't want her. I mean, it's all normal and natural, and I know like all the things she's going to start to feel, but like she's still my little angel baby, and I can't even believe it. Even though Sam, you know, she just had acrylic nails and started shaving her legs. So like, you know, she's not such a baby. And I broke up with him after the kiss. You're a savage, Stacy. Savage. Let me talk about my husband's pie. And I mean that in the literal sense. There's no like sexual innuendo there. Shirley Stern, don't be dirty. My husband, when we first started dating, really pulled out all the stops. Like I'm talking, I would go to his house after work and he'd have like a bubble bath drawn with a glass of wine, which I have tonight. I felt like I needed it to talk about my child learning about sex. He'd have the bath drawn. He'd have a candle lit, and he'd literally be in the kitchen slaving over a stove, making me lobster risotto and all kinds of things. And I was like, I can get used to this because I was always the one in past relationships and my other marriage who cooked all the time. I was like, yeah, I can get down with this. I'm good. And he did that for a really long time. And then as soon as we got married and we moved into our house together and got married, that's it. Like dunzo. Maybe he cooks once every few weeks. And then I'm complaining about having to cook because I'm so exhausted from these children. So he doesn't really do it anymore. However, when he does, he's really good. So one of his specialties is key lime pie. And like, I know a lot of people probably think, oh, my husband, my wife, they make the best this or whatever. His key lime pie is like next level. Like the crust is homemade. It is so good. It's actually on the menu at a restaurant that he used to work with because they loved it so much. That's how good it is. So Shirley Stern, my friend, who I think has now signed off, is very mad at me because I didn't save her a piece. And I tried to explain to her there is no saving Jason's key lime pie. When it's gone, it's gone. So I'm now taking orders, apparently. My mom wants to try and sell them and make him money. Like she thinks it can be a business. I'm like, yeah, because he has a lot of time to make pies. I mean, we barely see him during the week. So that's a great idea, Mom. Thanks. You know what I have to say to that, Mom? Hold on now, I can't find it.
Whatever.
Okay. For those of you who missed it, this is the kind of shit that my mother buys my kids. What else is on here? A dentist? Yeah, that could freak a kid out. A sneeze. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. All right. We covered a lot of territory, you guys. Here's your homework. I want you to tell me if there's any other things I should be talking to my daughter now that she knows what sex is, not from me. If there's other things I need to be prepared for. Lisa, you have older girls. If you're still on here, I need to know, like, is she going to start asking specifics about certain kinds of sex? Because that freaks me out. Samantha, I'll buy one. They're so good. They're really good. Babe, I hear you out there. People want to buy your pies already.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
Talk to my business manager, Arlene Westfall.
He said talk to his business manager, Arlene Westfall. Are you going to give her a cut?
Always.
It's a good son-in-law right there. All right, so your homework is to let me know what other bombs I should be expecting now that the sex talk has happened and the whole thing has started. I know it's going to snowball, so I need to know what other things I need to be prepared for. Oh, Lisa, they're going to start asking, she's going to ask specifics. Carol, I thought the homework was to find the book. I need to find out the book. Lisa's scaring me. She just keeps saying very cryptic things like, just wait. I need some more details. Like, give me an example of a question that your daughter's asked you that made you squirm and you really didn't know how to answer. I need to know. You need to tell me. Stacy, I think that may depend on the book and when it was published. I don't know. I don't really know these people. They're her dad's friends. I've only met them briefly. So I don't know. I can find out. So that's one piece of homework is to tell me what I need to know about sex talks. Lisa, I had a whole discussion today with the doctor while Alex had her flu shot about what HPV is. But that I can get behind because there's a medical piece of it, and so I feel less creepy talking to her about it. Carol, or the marijuana one is good. Oh, Carol, have you had that talk? Tell me about that. I need to know what you say about that because I need to know what you say about that. I need to know how you handle that. Stacy, make Evan have that conversation. She doesn't want to have it with him. She wants to have it with her mom, and I get it. I'm on deck for the sex talks. I have no choice. It is what it is, and he'll be a good support and be like, we'll be a team. But I think she's always going to come to me first with it because I'm her mom. Lisa, she asked, why do I need a shot to prevent HPV? What is HPV? Can I get it in my mouth? No. See, that's what I'm worried about. So now, no, Lisa, I can't. Wait, hold on. I need mine. Hold on. I can't handle any of this. Lisa, oh no, what can happen if a penis is in my mouth? She asked you that? How old is she? I need to know how old she is right now. Immediately, I need to know how old she is asking this question. Sam, I'll tell her about marijuana and scare the shit out of her. Okay. All right. I may take you up on that. Stacy, wait, Sam, let's go there for a second because you and I are on the same wavelength. I need to know when Gavin gets like older and starts to get curious, I want to know what you're going to tell him about marijuana. Stacy, I hope Ashton doesn't have that talk with his dad. Oh, Lisa, topic. This is why I drink. Yep. She's almost 13. Okay, so she's only a couple years older than Ava, and she's asking you about oral sex questions. Like, I can't handle any of this, you guys. This is why I can't handle any of this. And I don't know if it's worse if you have a boy or a girl because you have to, there's so much now to talk about, not just sex, but like consent and respecting your body. Like there's so many other complicated parts of it. I remember very little, my mom, we were very open, but I remember her taking me to the OBGYN before I left for college to like put me on the pill and stuff, which by the way, like, sorry, but like I had a very serious boyfriend through the last couple of years of high school. It was a little too late, but it's whatever. It is what it is. And the doctor and her at the same time gave me the whole talk about how, sex is a very serious adult thing and that people look very healthy sometimes from the outside, but you don't know what's going on and you have to be careful because once you get something, it's very hard to make it go away. And there's also pregnancy. I mean, I was scared shitless. So I was always very, very conscious of that. Lisa, 7th grade, we won't discuss my older one in 9th grade. No, what's going on in 9th grade? I can't do any of this. Hold on, I need another sip. Okay, Sam, you're going to tell your son, I'm going to try and get this with a straight face because we know each other. You're going to tell your son that he's going to be a weirdo if he smokes and act like a weirdo and have social anxiety. My outgoing kid will freak out about that. All right. Carol, actually, marijuana might be legal by the time. That's true. Here's what I always think about when you drive like on 95 and you see all the billboards. I'm shocked that my daughter hasn't said anything to me because obviously she can read. And I'm shocked she hasn't asked me what it means. Lisa, you read both of your girls' phones daily. I am a big believer in that. And I've actually spoken to psychologists about that too. And I had one tell me flat out, who I love. She's like, if you have a child who is a minor and they live with you especially, and you are not going through their phone, looking at text messages and whatever, then you're an asshole. She literally said that to me. She's like, they are our responsibility. It's not an invasion of privacy. They are not adults and we need to be responsible for them. But I have such a hard time because I want both of my kids to feel like, they do have some sense of privacy, but I am not messing around with that because too much shit goes down over text message these days. Lisa, do they know that you read their phones? Like, is it a known thing? Because I've also heard there are kids your daughter's age who have like Instagram accounts, but they have one that they give their parents. So they post stuff on there that like their parents would be like, oh, how cute, she's standing with her best friends in the mall. And then they have like the real ones where they post other stuff. So I want to know if that's going on in your house. Stacy's laughing at me. Sam, true, Carol, it will probably be legal. It's a whole new world. Yes, it is. Sam, Rachel, I really don't know what I'm going to tell him. I know. I think about this all the time. And here I am. And these talks are starting to happen. And I don't know what makes me more uncomfortable. But I'm just going to go with it. Stacy, 2 words, parental controls. Yes, but parental controls, I'm with you with parental controls, but like you still have text messaging and phones and all. It's just scary. Anyway, all right, I went off on too many tangents. So even if you watch this on the replay, I want to know what you tell your kids when you have these conversations about sex and drugs and relationships. I want to know certain things I need to be prepared for, because I did not think it would happen this early. And now here I am. So please school me. Second of all, ladies, go buy these right now. Cyber Monday, Spanx Commando full leather leggings. You will love them. Don't go by the size chart, because I'll tell you right now that by the size chart, I should be a small. But when I buy the small, I'm like physically uncomfortable, and the medium is really, really, really tight and does the trick. So don't be fooled into going by whatever parameters they give you. Trust your gut. Literally. See what I did there? All right, guys, I have to go finish my wine now, because I'm going to, I know, get a ton of comments from you guys that are going to make me want to finish the entire bottle. Sam, Chad is like, what the fuck is she talking about? That's so important that you're ignoring me. Chad, it is very important, and it needs airtime, and it's going to affect your child rearing. So just CTFD. Stacy, okay, I'm out and have to get back to expense reports. All right, love you. All right. Everyone have a great Monday. Thank you for joining me for this eventful live from my closet. I hope you all learned something tonight. And if you didn't, whatever. That's right. I'm getting more use out of this than my kids are. Maybe I should hide it. Although then they'll start rummaging through my stuff. All right. I'll see everybody next week. And that's it. Happy Monday. Bye.